Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So I recently bought one of these modern digital style drill presses for my workshop, and I've still got my older, more traditional style of drill press. So I thought I'd do a comparison video going through all the pros and cons and the differences between these two machines. So if you're looking at buying a new machine, you might find this video useful. So the first thing that you'll notice about these two designs, the more conventional design and the more modern design, is that the tables are kind of completely different. So on the conventional drill press, you have a cast iron table that moves up and down this shaft here. So you have to bring the workpiece to the drill because it has limited range of motion up here. It can't come down to the bottom, so you have to use this separate table here which clamps onto the shaft and bring it upward. And then if you want to clamp a workpiece, you'll need a drill press vise such as this one, and you can use it on the table here. So with the more modern design, the idea is that the drill up here can actually be brought down to the workpiece, so you don't need that secondary table here. So in other words, the base itself is the table. So the base acts as a table. You bring the drill to the workpiece, not the workpiece to the drill. And then for clamping, you've got built-in clamps here and here. You can see on this traditional style of drill press the table is quite small. You don't have much area to work with. And then on the modern one, you've got the whole base as the table, so it's a much larger working area. So just to better demonstrate, with the traditional drill press, as you turn the handle down, you get to there, and that is the end of the depth ability. So as you can see, it's not much at all, and that is why you need to bring that table up towards the end of the bit to get as much depth of drilling as possible. And with the modern design, much different. You can adjust it. You undo a handle here, and then you can lower or higher up the drill. So for example, if I want to drill something on the base now, I could have drilled something that was quite large, but I want to bring this all the way down to drill something quite small, say a 2x3. I can bring it down, I can lock it off, and then I can drill from there. And I've also got this depth stop. So no need for the secondary table. So how you would hold a workpiece and use a clamp differs in both these designs. In the older, more conventional design, you would use the drill press clamp, and you would put that on the table here, the moving table. With this traditional style, you've got your drill press vise and your wood in there, and then you could put some bolts in here to clamp the vise to the table. Whereas the more modern design has its own built-in clamping system here on the shaft, so you can bring it down to the workpiece and then turn a knob and it will tighten. And it also has this separate sliding like mini fence here that you can use to clamp larger workpieces and keep everything still. If you want to drill very small items, you will still need a drill press vise such as this one, because this clamp is only really made to drill larger pieces of wood. If you've got something small, this is not going to hold it sufficiently. So as you can see, two completely different sort of clamping design methods. So moving on to material, what these drills are made of. The older, more conventional drills tend to be made of cast iron, especially the base and the table, and then the more modern designs tend to be made out of lightweight aluminium. And now moving on to the weight. Because of the materials they're made of, because these more modern ones are made mainly from aluminium and the older ones, or the traditional style ones, are made mainly of cast iron material, these tend to be significantly heavier than these more modern designs. So another feature with the more modern design is that you can control the depth of drilling. This one has a little knob here, or a guide that you can move up and down. You can set it to sort of the depth that you want to drill, and then when you turn the handle it will stop at that required depth. And on some machines, not on this one, but you can set on here the depth digitally. You can lower the point of the drill bit to the workpiece and then set that to 0, and the drill will know how deep it needs to go when you set that depth. On these more traditional machines there is no way of setting a depth. What I used to do is put some tape around the drill bit so that you know when to stop drilling, but unfortunately these don't tend to have that feature. Now moving on to the differences in the handles. These more modern designs have these unusual kind of handles with rubberized areas on them. Some of them are wheels and some of them are like this. Are they better than the conventional style? I don't know really, but they look certainly different and they feel different. And the traditional style tends to be 3 spokes, nice and simple. Another key feature of the modern digital drill presses, they tend to have a laser light on them so that you can see where you're drilling, and the traditional ones don't have that. And these digital ones can also have a built-in light as well. This one doesn't, but a lot of them do. So the laser feature can be really useful as long as it's accurate in helping you to find where that pinpoint is, rather than sort of pulling the bit down to the workpiece, finding that mark and then clamping it. You can clamp it, follow where you've made a mark, and then you know that the bit will meet up with this cross. Now I'm going to talk about RPM, how you can change the speed of the drill depending on what you're drilling, metal, wood, the size. You might want to increase or lower the RPM of the drill. Now on the modern ones, on these digital ones, you can increase it and lower it just by pressing these buttons here. As you can see, this one goes all the way up to 2600 RPM and then all the way down to 500 RPM, and it's as simple as that. And you can make that change before you start the drill or while you're using the drill. Whereas with these more traditional styles of drill press, you have to open up this top section here. So there's a few screws you have to remove, take that off, and then there's some belts, and you have to adjust where the belt goes onto the sort of pulley. There's usually a little diagram inside that tells you which one you need to move it to, but that tends to be quite fiddly and inconvenient. So me personally, I haven't really ever bothered to change it. So now moving on to the motors themselves. The more modern digital designs tend to have a brushed motor, and they tend to be a bit louder and a bit more powerful. I think this one is around 750 watts, and then the old ones, or the more traditional design, tend to have an induction motor which tends to sound smoother and quieter, although it's not as powerful. They tend to be sort of, from these smaller ones anyway, from sort of 200 to 500 kind of watt range. I'll just turn on the traditional one. nice and quiet and smooth. And now I'll turn on the new one. So you can see, you can hear that the old style machine is definitely quieter and smoother sounding than the brushed, more powerful alternative here. And you can see here it says induction motor, and this one was made in 1992, so it's over 30 years old and it's still running smoothly. Whereas these more modern ones rely on a brushed motor, so you will have to change the brushes eventually. And who's to say how long they will last? It might be fair to say that they will not last as long as one like this, which is over 30 years old and still going strong, although who knows. The digital style of drill press has features on the dial here. It has a screen, plus and minus for the speeds, and the traditional drill press just has an on and an off button. I think it's also worth noting that these more traditional style drill presses tend to be deeper than the modern ones, and I think that's because of the induction motor here at the back and the pulleys. Here it makes it quite deep, so if you're in a small workshop that extra depth can be a bit irritating. Okay, so that is about it for this video. So in conclusion then, I would say that one is not necessarily better than another. They both have their good points and bad points. On the traditional drill press, I like the cast iron, I like the heavy duty feel. They last a long time, they tend to be very well made. The induction motors are nice and smooth, but they have that irritating problem where you have to change the belts over. They can go rusty, the cast iron can rust. They have really limited features. There isn't any sort of depth stops on them to control the depth, and they have a very limited capacity with the drilling depth as well, and they're quite heavy. And these modern ones, I do like the clamp features that they have, and I like the way that you can bring the drill to the workpiece. You've got increased depth capabilities with them. They're lightweight and easy to carry. They do have the brushed motors, which tend to be louder, although I think they are a bit more powerful because you can really go up on the RPM quite high. They're lighter, easier to carry around a workshop. They've got the digital screen so you can easily adjust the RPMs, and they've got like the laser as well. That's quite a useful feature. So who knows which is best, I'm not sure. I do like the modern one, but I also like the old one too. So please let me know what you think and what your experiences have been with your drill press. If you found this video useful, please remember to like and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.